Now let's look at the goal seek command. So in the previous video, we have discussed about the data tables. Now we are going to looking at the second important tool that is available in order to perform sensitivity analysis. And we call it the goal seek command. And let's see what is the functionality that this goal seek command would offer you. So when it comes to this goal seek command, basically what it does, it would help you to figure out what must be the input in order to achieve a particular output. For a specified output to be derived, what must be the input value that it has to be there. So let me give you an example for that. You can see that here we have taken an example. So you were given the selling price, the variable cost is given, and the output is given. So then the total contribution has been worked out. Then let's say that in this particular scenario, you want to figure out what should be the selling price that you should charge in order to earn a contribution of 20,000. In that, you have specified your output. What is your output? Your output is total contribution. You want this total contribution to be 20,000. If that is to be 20,000, what should be your selling price? Assuming the variable cost and units would remain the same. Assuming the variable cost and units would remain the same, what should be the change that you would likely to see in the selling price? So here the maximum capability what it offers is, so when the other factors are constant, you can see a change in a one input. You can see a change in a one input in order to derive a specified output. Even you can apply this in different context, like when it comes to a kind of loan, so bank loan, let's say. So in that particular instance, you can specify, given the information of loan period, the interest rate, and all the applicable information being given, you can specify the maximum installment that you can afford. So given that a maximum installment what you can afford, you can see what is the maximum loan amount that you can approach. That is another example for a goal seek command application. So likewise, basic application is that in order to achieve a specified output, what should be your input? But under the data tables, what you have witnessed, when there is a change in input, what should be the output? But here it's other way around. You would specify the output. In order to achieve that particular output, what should be the input? That's what you are interested in. That's what the piece of information that you are interested in. When it comes to this goal seek command, again you have to apply the steps what you had done earlier. That is in the sense, first you need to develop the model. So under this sensitivity analysis, the basic requirement is you need to develop the model first. So same applies for the goal seek. So develop your model. And then you can go to the data ribbon. In that, you can go to the what if analysis, then select goal seek. There you would have to specify the set cell. That is simply the output. Set cell in the sense that is the output. You have to specify the output of the model and say what must be the value. You need to set this output to a particular value. So if you apply that to the previous scenario, you have to say that, so it is the total contribution cell has to come over there as the set cell, then the value should be 20,000. You want to see a total contribution of 20,000. Then how do you achieve that? When the units and the variable cost is constant, by changing the selling price. So therefore the changing cell has to be the selling price. So that is how you apply this. So now let's see that through an example. Let's take the same example. You are given the basic model. The sales price is given 50, variable cost being given, variable cost is given like 30, and also you are given the demand or the units output. So it's given like 500 at the moment. So let's work out the contribution. So this time contribution is our output. Contribution. So these are our inputs, and this should be the output. So as usual, you have to develop the model. So how do you work that out? Make sure to take the cell reference, selling price minus the variable cost, that is into number of units. So you can see that the basic model being developed, your contribution has comes as 10,000. Now you want to see this contribution to be 20,000, what should be the selling price? So accordingly, this is what you would be seeking. By changing the contribution, by changing the output, you are seeking what must be the new selling price. You have to go to data, then go to the what if analysis. In that, take the goal seek this time. Then it asks you set value, which one you want to set. That's always the output. You want to set that to which value? You want to make it to 20,000. Then you are going to change what? By changing the selling price. What must be the change that it has to be there in the selling price in order to achieve a kind of contribution of 20,000. Then you have input the information, say OK. See, in no time it had worked out and it has given you the answer. If the selling price is 70, then you can go for this contribution 20,000. When the variable cost and units remains same. So therefore, in order to achieve a particular output, you can change one input and achieve that. That is the functionality which this data table, which this goal seek would offer you. So let's take one or two examples and see that. So you are given a activity 4. It says that the Namal want to pay off his loan over a period of 15. The annual interest rate is 16%. The Nimal tells that he can afford monthly payment of 20,000. How much he can borrow from the bank? Okay. So you are given information and let's work this out. Copy this information, paste it. You can get it. The very first thing, develop the basic model. That is a pretty much essential thing. Then the output. You are given the loan amount. So you have to assume that because it's a pretty much required ingredient in order to work out the monthly installment. It has to be there when you're developing the model. Monthly installment amount should be there. Then you are given the loan period being given, that is to be 15 years. And interest rate is also given. Interest rate, that is like annual interest rate 16%. So let me assume a particular amount, say like 1 million or something. 1 million. So we can definitely go more than that, but this is just to develop the basic output. So you get the PMT function. So you are so used to this. We have extensively discussed that. So the rate has to be there, that is the interest rate, but make sure that convert that into a monthly rate, because this is about monthly installment. NPR, so that is the period. So it's 15, the number of years, convert that into month, it's 180. The present value, the amount, 1 million. No future value, and loan is paid not in advance but in arrears. So therefore you would be paying that at the end of the period. Hence we can ignore that, say okay. So if this is the case, you can see that if you obtain 1 million under these terms that is given, so your monthly installment is 14,687. But the Nimal has indicated that he can go up to 20,000. He can afford 20,000. Then under the prevailing conditions, what is the amount that he can go? So in order to help you with this, you can use the goal seek. There you can specify the required information. Set value, that is monthly installment, it has been taken. Just select that. Then to what value? So you can go up to 20,000. It's a minus 20,000. These are minus figures. So make it minus 20,000. Then you want to change what? The loan amount. Then say okay. It will work out and gives you for 20,000 monthly installment, you can go for an amount of 1,361,748. That is amount what Nimal can go for. See how quickly you can work this out. So if you are supposed to work this out manually, then definitely it would take whole lot of your time. But here you have witnessed that in no time you work that out. So let's take it through another example. You are given activity 5. It says that following information is given for a product. Price 450, variable cost 224, fixed cost 1.2 million. Then it asks how many units are needed to sell to be break even, right? Then how many units are needed to sell to earn rupees 150,000 profit. And also another requirement, what selling price should be charged in order to sell the units calculated in A above while achieving a profit of 150,000. Okay, let's get this information and work this out. So you need to take the most important thing. The model has to be there. Get the inputs. You need the sales price. It's 450. Variable cost. It's 225. Then fixed cost. Fixed cost is there. It's 1.2 million. Right. Then it asks how many units are needed to sell to be break even. So you need to have some units or demand. That particular information is required when you are developing the basic model. So developing basic model is the important part, most important part I would say. So I may assume 10,000 units or something, and I would work out the output. The output is going to be the profit. So let's work the existing profit and let's do the changes as required. So as usual, you would take the total contribution, its selling price minus the variable cost multiplied by the demand and deduct its cost. So under the prevailing condition, you can see that you have worked out the profit, that is to be 1,050,000. Then we can get same set of information and work out under the different circumstances. Let me copy that information and have it for the requirement A, because here we have to test 3 conditions, so therefore I believe I might take the basic model and keep the rest. Right. For the first instance, we have this B39, B41, B40. Yes, fine. So the first instance, it asks how many units are needed to sell to break even. Okay, we'll see. Break even in the sense, no profit, neither profit, no loss. So go to data, goal seek, set value, the profit. You need to set this profit to what value? Make it 0. By changing what? Question says that units, how many units? So you can change the demand. Say okay. So if your demand is like 5,333 units, so when you round the things up, so you would likely to see there would be a kind of, so when your demand is like 5,333 units, so you know that the units can't be fractions, so therefore it's 5,333 units, your profit is going to be 0. So it's the first requirement. Then it asks how many units are needed to sell to earn rupees 150,000 profit. So let me copy this basic information for part B. It asks how many units are needed to sell to earn 150,000 profit. So this time they have specified the profit. You want the profit to be 150,000, and what must be the units? Again, the demand. You want to see that, right? Okay. The same thing, go to the data. What if? Goal seek. You want to set this profit to 150,000 by changing the demand. You can say, okay. See, if you sell 6,000 units, if you can manage to sell 6,000 units, your profit is going to be 150,000. And finally, you have, let's see what is the requirement. What selling price should be charged in order to sell units calculated in A above while achieving a profit of rupees 150,000? What selling price should be charged in order to sell the units calculated in A? That is, in the sense, this first requirement, while achieving a profit of 150,000. You want to earn 150,000 profit, but you want to keep the same number of units as you derived in case of part A above, and you want to change the selling price to achieve that. Okay, so therefore let me copy the part A answer. Let me paste it. Right. Now it says you want to earn a profit of, and let me highlight only the cell that you need to change this time. It's about the selling price this time, right? You want to keep the demand for the units as in the first case, so therefore I have taken that. Variable cost, fixed cost is same. The profit, it needs to be 150,000. No? Profit must be 150,000 by changing selling price. Say okay. You can see that if you charge 478.125, then you can achieve this 150,000 profit under the demand what you had experienced in break-even. In break-even demand, so if you have increased the sales price, you would see that you can go for a profit of 150,000. So it is the requirement in C.